Welcome back, traders. Today we're going to be getting into AMC, GameStop, and the index IWM. But I wanted to start by saying thank you guys. God bless you guys. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. Now today I wanted to take a little bit of a touch and do a deep dive, right? Because there's so much to talk about for these stocks that's going to be important in the long run success. And the first thing being IWM, the basket, the meme basket, or the small cap basket stock index, which has been on an absolute tear, guys, which gets me jacked, gets my you-know-what jacked, and I'm so genuinely excited to see how this may be able to pull up the rest of our memes or small cap stocks, right? NEO, AMC, GameStop, Mara, and the bunch. As you can see here, you had your flat top resistance all the way dated back to 2020, guys. You rejected it, pop above, and then you dump, right? And that was your bear market recession, in which you then retested your all-time high, dumped like crazy during the terrifying news high. You guys see what I did there? You then rallied, what was that? 45% before retesting your all-time high, and now you're making another all-time high, guys. Now, this is crazy bullish for our small cap stocks, GME and AMC particular. As you can see here, you made your all-time high today once again at 258.01, closing near the high of the candle. Now, that is, in my opinion, not financial advice, that's a textbook bullish continuation, and I expect full steam ahead. I really do. With the closest resistance from the previous two tops here, sitting right around 310. Now, to give you guys some comparison, the last time you saw this nuclear blast off was that 2020 Fed cut monetary cycle, right? This right here, another good example is this right here, this run up. So these happen once you break that flat top resistance, or at least they trend to, right? But what I wanted to talk about was how AMC and GameStop are positioned to profit off of the IWM run up, right? So you have GameStop sitting in this falling wedge formation, a bullish reversal pattern. Today you had an inside bar candlestick, not too groundbreaking, right? Nothing of tremendous value happened here. Just an inside bar. But what's huge is your bearish consolidation came on significantly less volume, 4.6 million. If we go to the 4-hour chart here, you can see it's really just a bear flag, mind you, on significantly low volume. So what we're going to watch here is, can you break up from this? Can you break out? And you should be able to find that out within the next day. Within tomorrow, you should see the direction in which this moves. As you had this rising wedge going into earnings, we called you coming down here to fill your gap sitting at $21. And then now you're just in a standstill, right? You're in the froze zone, the freeze. But one good thing that I'm watching here is you have a green cross-up developing on the 4-hour MACD. That should be able to give you the short-term strength to bust free of this. And if you can see that momentum carry over, guys, this could be that inverse head and shoulders pattern that gets you upwards of the point of control sitting at $28. Now, that would be pretty huge, actually. Genuinely, very, very huge. Huge. Love the way I say that, right? But what I think is the more probable scenario, one that I'm willing to bet on occurring, is even if you get this retest, right? Because you have a gap fill now left by filling the gap fill, which is hilarious. A gap fill within the gap fill within the gap fill. It's like we're in the Matrix or something. You have a gap fill sitting currently at 23.10. So I would not be surprised to see this failure swing here. Break out of the symmetrical triangle. Failure swing. And then you go to make your low, right? And the reason I believe that is I see a lower low coming for GME. Now, that is the most bullish scenario that I can even think about in my brain. And let me explain why, right? By the way, if you guys are finding this valuable, slap the subscribe button and let's get right back into it. Okay. Let me tell you why I think that is the most bullish scenario, right? That is the full play out of your falling wedge formation. Now, this is a bullish reversal pattern. This being a double bottom as well, potentially, right? I mean, it kind of gets that George W. look to it. So that's what I'm looking for on GameStop. And the reason I think it's probably the most bullish scenario is you then make the scenario in which you make a lower low, slightly lower low on the price, but then you give the RSI, right, the opportunity. And why is that so scrunched? That looks gross. You give the RSI on the daily time frame to make the opportunity for a higher low. And what does that do? That makes bullish divergence towards the bottom of this bullish reversal pattern. Now, to me, that screams bullish. That screams buy, right? Not financial advice. Can't tell you what to say, but I can tell you what I'm going to do. And I'm going to absolutely slap that buy button, because how could you not? How could you not? In the teens, in a fundamentally changed company with billions of dollars on the balance sheet down here in a squeeze play when it's beginning to get interesting with IWM, how could you not, right? So that is my reasoning behind it. But what I wanted to say genuinely gets me excited on GME for the future and for the interim as well, because you can see here on the monthly, guys, I'm gonna focus entirely on the Bollinger Bands here. Look at the Bollinger Bands. In case you guys don't know the Bollinger Bands, we've done a fair amount of coverage of the Bollinger Bands on this channel. I am passionate about these being the squeeze bands, right? Created by John Bollinger. They are termed the Bollinger Bands because the tighter they get, the closer you are to a volatile move. And although they don't tell you the direction, they do tell you that the range you've been in is coming to an end. Now, you can see here, GameStop has been in a range since June of 2024. Pretty much just box trading, right? Pump up, pump down, pump up, pump down, pump up, pump down, pump up, slightly, maybe, pump down. And what I'm watching for is, if you do actually play out this falling wedge, right, you come back down to make a bullishly divergent low, you're going to do something freaking significant, like crazy significant. You're going to touch the bottom or get dang near close to the bottom of this Bollinger Band sitting at 1902, right? And if you do that, guys, I'm going to get much more bullish on GameStop. As you can see here, almost all of your major run-ups, you've tapped the Bollinger Band before, and it's not a guarantee. You got very, very close to this one before you squoze, but I'll give you a couple examples in the past of how GameStop has treated the Bollinger Bands being this tight, right? This is just one example of when they were tightening. You held the mid-band, but then you dropped it, right? And then they began to expand, and you had a reverse squeeze. What's a good example of that? You puked, right? Let's just say you puked. It was disgusting, right? But there's a good example of this that happened in 2012, and one that I think is very likely, right? You've been range bound in this scenario for 4 years. True down, range bound. Range bound. In this scenario, you come down to the bottom of the band, you reclaim the mid band, touch the top band, retest the mid band, and then you squeeze, and the effects of that from bottom to the top was 275%, guys. Now, you are playing out a very similar scenario in which you're range bound. The Bollinger Bands are squeezing, right? So this is telling me that this trend, this sideways consolidation, is going to become volatile, violently priced, right? And this is on the monthly time frame. So take into account the larger the time frame, the larger the move, right? And so what I'm watching for here is a bullishly confluent test, throwback of this band before boom, right? I'm waiting for something crazy. And if we come down here, guys, I'm going to be pounding the freaking table and covering every single day whether or not this RSI in the daily time frame is bullish, whether or not you put in a bullish touch of divergence. So make sure to put on those noti bells, right? That way you guys are aware when I post. But that's just one example. There are plenty of other examples. This is a ride the worm example, and how the Bollinger Bands tighten, squeeze, tighten, range bound, right? Tight, boom, tighten, puke, tighten, puke, tighten. We're waiting to see what you do, but I think it's significant, guys, and a very, very good buying opportunity. Not financial advice. This is just what I would do. If you come down to this bottom Bollinger Band at 1902, guys, that's crazy value. And this is the tightest you've been on the bands since freaking 2015. That's insane. That is crazy. So the fact that you are the same price as you were in 2021, 2022, and you have $10 billion in cash, guys. Roaring Kitty coming back last year, and Ryan Cohen's a silly goose. I don't know if you guys saw that video. But you have Michael Burry as well saying he's going to release a full documentary almost, right? Explaining the GameStop story that happened down here. I'm freaking fascinated that all these things are happening in this moment of time. So that's my GameStop tinfoil. That's my GameStop DD. I have one more thing for you guys on GameStop, though. Shout out Fitzy saying, this is your most profitable quarter in the last 15 years in millions. That's insane, right? The most profitable quarter in the last 15 years. And the stock's down. That's insane. You can see the only time you got close was pre-pandemic. What was it? 2017? I'm assuming you had the Xbox One come out or something. Maybe Fortnite. I don't know. Something. 2013 was your other time. 2013 was the closest you've ever come to hitting that mark. And I assume that's Xbox 360 maybe. So we haven't even had any crazy releases, right? GTA's not out. Nothing's happened. You've just had a complete 180 of the bottom line. So this is insane value, guys. I don't have to explain it further than that. So this is my most likely outcome. I'm weary, and I'm watching the daily MACD crossing down. I do think you're going to get that cross down after you bump your head here. So be wary, be watchful, right? Be aware of the indicator, the MACD. So that's what I'm watching for. GME looks amazing. Let's just be honest. GME looks freaking phenomenal. So let's get into AMC, guys. I wanted to cover the share dilution news in the last share holder meeting. Now, no dilution has happened right away. No dilution has happened yet. But this is just going over with this key proposal. You could double the float, 550 million to 1.1 billion. This passed overwhelmingly as the company just genuinely needs cash. But you could see they cannot raise capital, guys. I think it's for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So they're stuck where they are right now. And if they can raise capital, I believe it's upwards of only 20 million shares. You guys can fact check me. I heard this on Tony DeNaro. I like him as just a neutral due diligence influencer. That they can only raise about 20 million shares. Please fact check me in the comments. But you can see overarching, right? After that period of consolidation, they can raise up to 550 million new potential shares, but cannot dilute right away. Now, this is crucial for the long-term survival of the company, but also worrying, right? Because nobody wants to hold through dilution, and that could potentially hurt the stock price. But what I'm covering is completely unbiased to whether or not you get dilution. This falling wedge is freaking tight, y'all. You've been in this thing since 2023 after that AMC dilution. and you've yet to pass this underarching resistance line that has been absolutely stubborn. Stubborn. But what I'm watching for is for this thing to absolutely smash through your resistance line. If it can find a bottom here, you need to find a bottom off of this tap. You went slightly below here. And what I think is likely is you make one more bullishly divergent low, potentially lower, right? That's possible. But I'm anticipating some kind of double bottom here at $2, maybe the 198, right? You got to shake out the buying orders or the sell stops, right? But I'm anticipating one more low here. Now, once you make that low, I want to see bullish volume step in. You did not get that low here. You got a little bit of a ramp up in volume here, but it was bearish. I want to see a bullish bottoming candle. This was truly it for me. That is a beautiful weekly bounce, and you did not get anything of the sort here. So I'm anticipating a break of this downtrend in the volume bars, right? This weekly volume exhaustion on the bear's end. Once you see that bottom, I want to see this green candle like up here. I want to see something crazy the same way. Well, actually, you didn't really have it here, but yeah, you did have a green crazy candle wick and a bullish engulfing candle. Now that's beautiful, followed by this crazy volume ramp up. I mean, crazy. And we all know why Ryan Cohen or Roy Kitty came back. But if you want to see this break of this resistance trend, you want to see that kind of bottoming formation as well as the volume to back it up. Now, where do you go on the short term or the interim? Well, you're going to test this 200-day EMA in the daily time frame. That's going to be absolutely pivotal that you get above the 50, sitting at 250, and then you test the 200 sitting at only $3, guys. That is the lowest it's ever been in the history. And basically what we're banking on, what we're hoping for is that AMC can see extended consolidation above the 50-day EMA. What that'll do is act as a catapult to go above the 200. Now, once you do that, guys, that'll be the first time you hold above the 200 in what feels like forever, right? The story of AMC is truthfully the story of getting obliterated, abused, and bullied by this 200-day EMA as you slapped it down, 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 and you have not held above it with bullish strength since all the way back in 2021 of February when you got that bullish golden cross. And that led to a beautiful bullish pennant squeeze and then this extended consolidation. So that is what I'm hoping and watching for in AMC. Now, where does the dilution play in that? Well, we're just going to have to find out, unfortunately. But I'm expecting this crazy move. I really am. And the fact that they cannot significantly dilute within the next 3 months, hopefully, right, this falling wedge pattern, the pinnacle of it comes to an end in February. I would assume that you've broken this trend line by then and that you've seen some kind of bullish relief. And who knows, right? Adam Aaron says he has something planned for January, February, and it's the biggest news yet. We're just going to have to wait and see. But that is our thesis on AMC, that this falling wedge comes to an end as it is a bullish reversal signal. And keep all that in mind, guys. AMC and GameStop are in the exact same formation, while IWM is making its all-time highs. Now, that is significant, guys, to take into context just what is playing out on these stocks. Bullish reversal, in my opinion. You go to the monthly time frame here. I haven't looked at this in a long time, so I'm genuinely curious. The Bollinger Bands on AMC. No. Bollinger Bands. There we go. Get that out of here. So the Bollinger Bands are beginning to expand after they had the tightest consolidation period in its history since 2019. Very similar to GameStop. As you can see here, the monthly volume has just absolutely jumped off a cliff. And that's good, right? coming into the pinnacle of this wedge, I would expect that to be the case. But you need to see bull step in. Because if you do not see bull step in at the pinnacle of this wedge, guys, well, unfortunately, you're going to see this thing absolutely jump off a cliff as well. Like, you're going to see what would be I know I have it drawn up on TradingView. Most likely your long-term, this would be a crazy falling wedge if that's the case, right? But your tap IPO, your tap on 2020, your tap on 2024, you have this established trend line that you would most likely come down to, which lies right around that 150 territory, if I'm not mistaken. No. Why is TradingView show different? What's going on, you silly goose? On TradingView, it shows a little bit more realistic, 125 to 118. Now, that would be horrendous. Nobody wants that, right? But the value in shares, I would see right around 150. But regardless, guys, you're still within the falling wedge. You're still within this consolidation period. And you still have your RSI weekly uptrend. This is the main thing we've covered on AMC. This is what we will continue to cover on AMC, because not only are you in a bullish reversal pattern here, you're getting multiple touches of bullish weekly divergence on the RSI. The same exact thing that propelled you up during your 2021 run, right? Bullish divergence on the RSI, multiple touches before you found a bottom and squoze. Saw the same thing in 2022. Touch of bullish divergence, squeeze 160%. Touch of bullish divergence, squeeze 160%. And so these massive runs, there are signs, and you're getting those same signs right now. And I'm not saying to full port, right? This isn't financial advice. This is a very risky play. But what I am saying is the signs are showing again. So do with that what you may, right? So remember, guys, this is not financial advice. God bless each and every single one of you guys. I love you all. But remember, the best is yet to come. Salute. See you guys in the next video.